right, welcome back to Not Easy Being Geeky. This week, we're going to be talking about something that you guys voted on, so make sure you're checking us out on all our socials, because we want you guys to be involved in these decisions too. We want you guys to like the content. So I put a poll out there seeing what you guys would rather be interested in talking about, and it was very close, but Jim Henson won. So today we're going to be talking all about the man Jim Henson and how he impacted me and my childhood, and I'm sure all of you guys' childhood too, because Jim Henson Company's been around for a long time, and they're dope. So if you don't know who Jim Henson is, I'm just gonna throw out some familiar stuff for you that pretty sure instantly you'll know, because if you don't know this stuff, I don't know what happened to your childhood. The Muppets, the Dark Crystal, Labyrinth, The Witches. I mean, you name it. Like, this dude had his hand in Sesame Street. I mean, everybody grew up on Sesame Street and Fraggle Rock. Anyway, we're gonna get into all that, but growing up with Jim Henson was like the best thing in the world to me. I mean, like, those movies were so iconic, and they still are. I mean, everyone knows all of those things. You see those puppets and you're like, that's a Jim Henson, movie. And you're like, this is gonna be awesome. I have never seen a bad Jim Henson production, now that I'm really thinking about it. I mean, The Dark Crystal is one of my favorite movies, like, of all time. I love that movie. And I love the Muppet movies. I mean, it's just, they're so good. And I think what's helped like them last so long is because it's not just aimed for kids. If you've ever seen any like Jim Henson production, they have a lot of adult humor in them too. So I think that's why they've lasted so long, is because they don't just cater to children. I mean, there's a lot of overall humor in them. And man, if you only knew how much work goes into creating those things, I mean, it's very like tedious, and a lot of love goes into them. You could tell, like, there's so much passion in it. But definitely, by far, my favorite Muppet movie, hands down, is Muppet Treasure Island. That was my favorite. It still is my favorite. Hell, you got Tim Curry in it as Long John Silver, and you get this dope singing scene, which, I mean, Tim Curry singing is the greatest. Like, I love him. I'm sure we got some Rocky Horror Picture fans out there, and I mean, who the hell doesn't love Tim Curry? He's an amazing actor. Love him very much, and just it cracks me up because there's so many. Like I said, there's adult humor in there and stuff you don't pick up on as a kid. When you watch it again, you're like, how did I how did I miss that, But not too long ago, when Disney Plus launched the app, I mean, we instantly got it. I mean, I had it. I pre-ordered it. Like, you could, that's how crazy this was. You could pre-order the Disney app. That was crazy. You could sign up ahead of time, and as soon as the app officially launched, you had access to it. I don't think I've ever seen an app like that before, that you could pre-order an app. Like, what? Anyway, getting a little carried away with that, but I thought that was so cool. And so one of the very first things I watched on it was Muppet Treasure Island. I think it was the first thing we watched when the Disney app like went up. I think that was the first thing we watched, was Muppet Treasure Island. I was like, oh hell yeah, they got the Muppets. Oh man, I was so pumped for that. But anyway, I remember specifically at the very beginning of the movie, I can't even remember what the hell her name was, but there's this rather large woman, and she's taking care of the inn/bar, whatever, and Gonzo and Rizzo and this young boy are working there, cleaning, and they're like mumbling to each other, and she's like, I heard that, and they're like, how does she do that? And I vividly remember that in my childhood. That was so funny to me, like, because they kept referencing it like throughout the whole movie. Anyway, I loved Muppet Treasure Island. It was my favorite Muppets movie, and it's so great. And not only that, but just like I said, it still holds up today. It's still funny, and you know, those movies to me just, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a bad Muppet movie. Now that I'm like really thinking about it, they've all been great. Even the new one when they came, I think it was in like, I say new, but it's like 10 years ago now at this point. With Jason Segel, is it? Yeah, Jason Segel. Yeah, he was in it, and I thought that was funny too. There was probably some people that didn't feel like that, but hell, I think it still was very true to the original like Muppets, humor wise, and I mean the characters. You get the characters. My mom always loved Miss Piggy, and she, I think it's because Miss Piggy was like so like looked like she'd be so prim and proper, but she was not afraid to throw down, man. She was like, I'm a fight. Like she was ready to whoop that ass, you know, at any point of time. And she was hilarious. And I remember my mom telling me this one time that she had went to a Halloween party and her friend dressed as Miss Piggy and like had the snout and everything, and like she had the pearls and got her hair curled like it, like old school Miss Piggy with like curly hair and everything. And she said she like stayed in character the whole night and was like doing the whole little you know, the that Miss Piggy does. Yeah, the little scrunched up like snout thing. I don't even know how. But if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Like where they would like, obviously like the puppeteer is like smushing their hand so hard that it makes that emotion like they're scrunching up their face. But I loved the Muppets growing up, and my mom loves Miss Piggy. And I think it's hilarious that I think they made one movie, if I remember right. You never know what the hell Gonzo is. You don't. I don't think they. I think even in that movie, it's like a Gonzo, something about like aliens, and they try to explain it. I don't remember it vividly. Someone please, like, in the comments on our social media, like, I know I'm probably butchering this, but I mean, I'm talking about my childhood, so it's obviously I'm not going to remember stuff. But it's like Rizzo or not, and Gonzo, and you're like, what the hell is he? And I don't think they, even in that movie, I don't think they ever, I think they just allude to the fact that he's possibly an alien, and you're like, okay, and you just kind of deal with it. But I think it's hilarious because they're, you know, he's got the weird shaped nose and everything, and they're always constantly, it's like a candy cane like hook. It's just so funny to me. Like they really put so much detail into these characters though. And so I remember growing up with my brothers. My brothers loved Fraggle Rock, and I did too. I mean, it was adorable, funny, and like the characters were great. And my brother Michael, he loved there. I can't remember. I think her name was Frizz, if I remember right. No, that's the one with the red hair. Anyway, there's this hippie one, and she like she like always was like super chill and like, everyone, let's come together. It was so funny, but like you could tell, like I said, they put so much detail in these characters and like think of like their backstories and everything like that, so that way it comes to life when like the puppeteer is doing the motions for them. But like, I know it's not that recent, but I know that Funko made Fraggle Rock pops, and I got my brother that pop figure, and he loved it so much. He was like, what? He doesn't even like pops, he doesn't collect them, but I thought it was too funny and something I knew he would like, so I got it for him, and he has it in his house chilling. Just, he loves it. He's like, that's awesome. But I thought that was too funny that like he was like, I don't even like these things, I don't care about pops, but I like this. And Fraggle Rock was like so cool to me, and watching it, they had the music in it. Like, I mean, a lot of Jim Henson productions have music, and I think it's different because it's so different, like from like Disney, where it's like, oh, sweet, like butterflies and birds chirping kind of a thing, but it's like memorable. like Not Easy Being Green, which kind of is like a small, like inspiration to my name of the podcast, Not Easy Being Geeky. It's kind of a nod to Jim Henson because I grew up with Jim Henson movies, and I thought it was, something that I could put a nod to, and I very much love Jim Henson movies, and um, so I mean, there's these. Oh, and Phenomena, do 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 do. Everyone knows that song, and like, oh, and then the hilarious thing with the chickens, they always like do covers of songs, but it's the chickens singing it. And does anyone else remember that? Like, chickens doing doing the songs. I thought that was hilarious too with Gonzo, because Gonzo had like a weird fetish with chickens. Like he was like in love with one of the chickens. Does anybody else remember that? Like, I'm not making that up, right? I think Gonzo married one of the chickens. I think her name was like Helen or something. I can't remember. But he married one of the chickens. And but it's cool because, like I said, Jim Henson Productions, they just keep growing and evolving over time, and I think they really are keeping up with their audience even as they grow older. Because I remember and it's not that long ago, but technically, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm feeling old because it's in 2014 that this show came out, and that's 2020 right now, so 6 years ago. But I'm mad because there was only one season, and I loved the show. It was on the Sci-Fi Channel, and it was called oh man, Jim Henson Creature Shop Challenge, and it was a freaking competition show of puppeteers and special effects artists that were competing to work for the Jim Henson Company. It was so cool, and it only had one freaking season. I loved that show. And what was so cool, I mean, they got other prizes too, like money, I'm sure, or whatever. I just can't remember off the top of my head. I just remembered vividly that they got to work for the Jim Henson Company at the Jim Henson production studio. And it was so cool though, man. What was crazy about this show is normally like those type of creatures and puppets and things like that, they take those people and a team like weeks to make one of them, like depending how large it is, or you know what I mean? It can take them weeks to make these creatures. They would have like 2 days to make a full body thing. Like in the Dark Crystal, they made, those. I was like, holy crap. Like, they had 2 days to do this. And like, not only did they have to make like them like look a certain way or like under a certain, they had to have a backstory for them to where it made sense. They had to think about the environment. They had to have like robotics in some of them, like where the eyes moved. Like there was shit in there that would take a long time. And you're like, they had 2 days to do that. And it's just like, wow. But I thought that show was so cool. And then make that shit come back, man. I really do think that show deserves a comeback. I thought that was so cool. It was on the Sci-Fi Channel. And I think it's on like a few different streaming services, but definitely was one of the coolest things I ever saw. And I remember like weekly I was like so excited to like see the next episode, but I'm still mad that there's only one season, sadly. But maybe it's just that they were trying to get people to hire for the Jim Henson Company, and they're like, hey, let's do this one show, we're done. I respect that. But yeah, it was so cool. And like I said, these people, I mean, they go to school. Some of them were self-taught. Like this one dude, he made like certain parts of their creature out of freaking tinfoil and hot glue. And it looked so amazing. You're like, what? But it was a dope show, man. Very good show though. Definitely recommend looking into it if you like those kind of competition shows. But they're constantly like throwing out new stuff because they did that movie recently, like I think it was 2018 or 19, and it was The Happy Time Murders, which definitely not for kids. There was that movie where like there's like a mafia and shit, and like what's her face? what's her name? It's gonna drive me crazy. Melissa McCarthy. She was in it, and anyway, definitely not for kids, so definitely don't watch that around kids. But Jim Henson Company did that too. I mean, that was crazy. Definitely not what normal Jim Henson Company does, but I think it was cool. I think it was hilarious. Definitely worked really hard on some of those puppets, man. It's just funny because I mean, the fact that it's a very adult film. Do not let the fact that there's puppets, make you think it's a kid's movie. Just letting you know that now. I think a lot of things now, people, older generations tend to think, oh, well, there's puppets or it's a cartoon, so automatically it's got to be for kids. I think South Park alone should prove that that's not an accurate statement. I mean, you got shows like South Park, The Simpsons, Family Guy, all that stuff, definitely not for kids. So stop having that mentality. But I mean, this art form has like impacted so much in not just film, but like I know Panic at the Disco has this music video where, oh my god, Hey Look Ma, I Made It, I think it is. And he's a puppet. It's him as a puppet. And he's like throwing up and like getting beat the crap out of. And anyway, it's hilarious, the video, if you ever see it. But I'm pretty sure it's that song now that I'm thinking about it. But I love Panic at the Disco. But yeah, it's impacted so much and more than just film. Like, I mean, even music and all kinds of stuff. And like I said, they're keeping up with stuff because they know people love their old movies, but they're not afraid to like revamp them or anything like that because they have that new show, Dark Crystal Age of Resistance, which, oh my god, I was so freaking excited when I heard that was coming out. I mean, like I said, The Dark Crystal is still one of my favorite movies. It's beautifully done and it's just a great movie. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend seeing it. It's amazing. But I'm mad because I still haven't seen the show. I'm mad at myself. Obviously, it's not Netflix's fault that I have not watched it yet. But I'm very excited because I could see they've kept some iconic creatures and things like that from the original movie, and I'm very excited to see where that goes, and how they continue it, that universe that they created. But I know if you live in Atlanta, or in the Atlanta area, there is the Atlanta Center of Puppetry Arts, and they have a Dark Crystal exhibit, and it's so cool. I mean, they have other exhibits, but that's the one I mean, for adults, I highly recommend that. And they also had one, I don't think they have it anymore. I think it was for a short time after, sadly, when David Bowie had died, they had an exhibit of Labyrinth. I don't know if it's still there because, I mean, with COVID-19, it's closed, so I can't tell what the exhibits they have open because obviously it's closed. But I took my niece there not too long ago with my parents, and we took her to see Rudolph. It's like an annual thing. They put on a show for Rudolph. It's adorable. They have the music, everything. It's so cute. And she loves it. So we try to take her every year because she loves it so much. And I got so excited because I totally ditched my parents with my niece because she was playing, and they were watching her. But as soon as I saw they had a Dark Crystal exhibit, I was like, all right, you guys can stay at Sesame Street. I'm gonna go check this out. And then I go a little further and I see they had a Labyrinth exhibit, and I was like, oh, dope. It was so cool. I mean, like, just to see like those things up close, you see how much detail they put into them, and obviously time. Like I said, when I was watching the Jim Henson Creature Shop Challenge, they say like, hey, we know this stuff takes normally like 3 to 6 weeks, even longer sometimes. We're giving you 2 days to do this. Imagine that, like, just how crazy. And like I said, people are using like all forms. I mean, they use foam, fur, feathers. I mean, all kinds of stuff. Clay. They use so many different like mediums. So think like you have to be a master in like not just one thing, but a multitude of things to do this stuff. And it's just so cool. But seeing it evolve into what it is now is just so cool. And I'm so excited to see how they continue to do this stuff, because I know like I said, Dark Crystal Age of Resistance is still going. I wonder if they'll do any more series, um, you know, with their old school stuff. I mean, I know they used to have like the Muppet Show and things like that, but wouldn't it be cool to see like other movies get revamped and like into shows? I mean, I really would enjoy that. And it's just cool, man. But definitely if you live in the Atlanta area, go check out and support them, because you know, stuff like this doesn't exist much anymore, and it's cool to see that that company is probably the number one leading. I know, I know I keep going back to the show, but it was so freaking cool. This one guy worked at Disney, and he was going to this competition to work for Jim Henson because he said they're the best of the best. So even though I work for one of the biggest probably if not the biggest company in the freaking world, Disney owns like so many things, so let's just start there. He was willing to risk his job at Disney to go work for Jim Henson. Like, what? So just to show you that these guys really know what they're doing. Like, people are willing to quit their job at Disney to go work for them. That's crazy to me. But I mean, I'm very excited to see the future of Jim Henson Productions, because obviously Jim Henson, he died, and so his son is the chairman now of the company, and he's done an amazing job. I mean, really, like, it just keeps going. Clearly, I mean, it shows that this stuff lasts. And I mean, I think isn't Sesame Street still going? I'm pretty sure it is. Like, how long has that shit been going on for? I mean, really, I'm trying to think. Like, well over 30 years now, I would assume. But man, that's crazy. Like, I think it came out in like the 60s, late 60s. But anyway, like, this stuff is impactful, it's shaped so many people's childhoods. And I mean, they're still making Muppet movies. That's how well this stuff has held up. I mean, because it's reintroducing it to new generations. Like, kids now are just learning about this stuff. And I think it's so cool, because obviously you see something so cute like that, and it naturally a child is gonna gravitate towards that. But I'm really excited, because I know that I love this webcomic series. I love webcomics. Yes, I'm a nerd. That's the whole point of this podcast. So don't come at me for that. But there's this webtoon comic I read, and it's called Lore Olympus. If you don't know what Lore Olympus is, it is a modern telling of the love story of Hades and Persephone. It's not necessarily accurate in all aspects of Greek mythology. It's not supposed to be. It's Rachel Smythe is the creator, and it's her take on these things. But beautiful artwork. I mean, stunning. Like, it kind of looks like oil paintings in a way. Like, I don't even know how to. It's very beautiful. Anyway, and I love this comic so much. You can easily binge watch. Geez, clearly we're in a day of age where I just instantly thought binge meant to watch something. Anyway, binge read it. It's Webtoon is a free app. There are in-app purchases if you want to continue reading something, but you don't have to, obviously. It's a free app anyway. And like I said, beautiful artwork. There's many other comics, but this one I love so much. And recently, I found out in like 2009, it was announced it's going to get its own animated series. And I was like, oh, I'm pumped for this. I'm so pumped, because obviously they're going to want to keep the artwork because it's an animated series. And she made this beautiful comic. And then when I found out who was going to be producing it, I flipped my shit. because it's the Jim Henson Company. And I was like, are you serious? I mean, thinking about it, I couldn't think of many things that Jim Henson, the company, has animated. But then when I started like doing more research, they have done quite a few things. But I think what's smart is they realize like this is a huge, I mean, like I think over 2 million readers, if I can remember right. I mean, that's the last time I checked. Well over that probably. I mean, like daily, it said like 2 million daily. Like that's crazy. Because I read this article about it. It was cool. Definitely go check out the article. But anyway, sure, if you just Google Lore Olympus animated series, it's going to be the first one that comes up. But Jim Henson Company is going to be animating it. And I don't know when the hell it's coming out. There isn't an official date. I've looked a million times because trust me, I'm trying to keep up with it. But I'm very excited to see where that goes because like I said, I love this comic. It's beautiful artwork. And I can only imagine with a company like that, the endless possibilities. I mean, the story isn't even finished yet, just to let you know. So it's continuously going. So there's opportunity for growth even in that. I think that's probably why they wanted to sign on to this because they know it's not a finished story, so they could continue it going forward. Very smart on their end as a company. I feel like a lot of things like there's a finite end. And yeah, it'd be cool, but then you can only make so much off of it. You know what I mean? I think they're like, listen, if this many people love this, we're going to make our bank off of it. And we can turn it into something amazing. And like I said, the possibilities are endless, but don't worry. I will have a Lore Olympus episode for all you fans out there. Don't worry. I'm working on it. It's coming. It's just, I thought it would be nice to do a little nod to it in this episode because, like I said, Jim Henson Company is doing it. That's so cool. And I know Rachel Smythe, the creator, probably shit a brick when they contacted her. Like, I mean, she's, like I said, Webtoon is just, artists that, I mean, you can make your own comic. They give you templates and everything. So you probably don't make any money off of it. I mean, unless you get as big as her. I don't know. I don't know the schematics of that. I know a lot of people just do it for free out of their own enjoyment. But I mean, really think about that. She's probably going to make a killing off of this. Really, whatever the contract is, I'm sure she's very excited to see her comic come to life, you know what I mean? But beautiful story. Definitely recommend reading that. It's like I said, so cool. It's about Hades and Persephone's love story. And it's modern age, so it's really cool. We have technology and cell phones. It's pretty funny. But it's a good balance of romance and serious topics and humor. I mean, really, I definitely don't recommend a child reading it because there is some more adult content in it. It does touch on some more serious topics. I'd say PG-13. Definitely. But definitely don't recommend. And I mean, it's going to be a young adult animated series. I mean, emphasis on young adult because, like I said, there's some more serious topics in there that should not be touched on for a child, in my opinion. I don't think it'd be appropriate to expose a child to that so young. But just my opinion. I mean, you can do whatever you want with your kids, but just forewarning, don't recommend a child reading it. There's sex, there's drinking, sexual scenes, sexual abuse. So some serious topics in this. So like I said, don't recommend a child reading it, but definitely, this podcast isn't for kids anyway. So, there's cursing. So, so sorry, but just letting you know ahead of time. But I am very excited to see that series. Like I said, I wish I knew a freaking date for it. Cause I'm waiting for it. And I'm really excited for it. But Jim Henson, man, like he was the man. And I'm very excited that his son took so much interest in this. Cause obviously that's not always the case with such legends like that. And clearly this is a family company, you know what I mean? And they've just continued it over the years. And it's awesome to see that, you know what I mean? But I really do hope that they make other series, not just Dark Crystal. I mean, I'm excited to see it, but also, can we, like I said, can we bring back that show? Because that was kick ass. I mean, really, like, to see the behind the scenes of like how they make that stuff is so cool, man. And I'm just really excited to see how this company grows and how they shape other generations' childhoods. Because, like I said, they've already like what 4 or 5 generations now. Think about it. I mean, I really don't know how long. I'm trying to think. I know it came out in the late '60s, maybe early '70s. Started, but I mean, really, like that's a long time for like movies to be impacting people. I mean, really. Like I said, I think they're even still doing Sesame Street. So it's like just kick ass, man. Like, really. So you guys wanted this episode and I'm happy to do it. If you guys want me to touch on, like certain movies, I'm totally down for that. Like, if you want me to go in depth about Labyrinth, that is my favorite Jim Henson movie, hands down. It's got David Bowie in it. David freaking Bowie. Sadly, he died. That's a death that hit me hard, man. I cried a lot. But we can still watch the movie over and over again. So there's that. I'd totally be down to talk about Labyrinth, The Dark Crystal. I'm if you guys want me to talk about the show, I'll happily watch it. And do that. But I mean, just let me know, man. Have a conversation on our social media accounts, man. Don't be afraid to comment and let us know what you want to watch or not watch. Man, see, I did it again. This is a podcast. Man, the day and age where like instantly we think we can watch everything. But let me know what you guys want to listen to, and I'm happy to do it. Don't be afraid. For those people that wanted the '90s episode, it's coming. I'm still gonna make it. It's just that Jim Henson won this episode. So 90s cartoons will be coming. I'm very excited for that too. If there's a specific 90s cartoon you'd like me to talk about, I'm totally down for that too. I have an idea in mind of which ones I want to talk about because they were traumatizing. But we'll get to that in possibly next week's episode. But thanks again, you guys, for chiming into what you wanted to listen to. I really appreciate you guys taking part in that poll. And just thank you for the support, man. I really appreciate that, and I'm really excited for, like I said, the future of the Jim Henson Company. And if anybody knows a freaking date for that, if anybody, I mean, I searched so hard to see a release date, but couldn't find jack squat. So, if anyone knows when that Lore Olympus series is coming, please let me know. I would very much appreciate that. But thank you guys again. Tune in for next week's episode. Most likely going to be about the 90s cartoons that you guys wanted also. It was very close. I mean, very, very close. Neck and neck for a very long time. It was 50-50. And Jim Henson just barely won. So you guys clearly were excited about both topics. But really excited. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And like I said, if you guys want more in-depth episodes about certain Jim Henson movies, I'm down too. Just let me know which one you want me to talk about. And guys, I know a lot of you guys are wanting the podcast to be on YouTube as well and other content. But the thing is we don't have the right equipment for that at the moment, and so it would make it, you guys would see a lot of pillows. That's ultimately what it is. We don't have the right setup for it right now. We don't have soundproofing equipment. I mean, we live 200 feet away from a train, so it's already pretty difficult to get the audio as good as it is right now. So with a bunch of blankets and pillows around us draped, it's not the greatest setup. So unfortunately, we can't do that right now, but we would love to do that for you guys in the future. I mean, I'm a small podcast, and unfortunately it can't be done right now, but in the near future, if you guys would like that to come faster, we are going to be making a Patreon page, and we would appreciate any and all support. You don't have to put any money towards it, but It would be very appreciated, and that kind of content would be readily available to you much faster if we do get support on that. And like I said, we have so many cool ideas for the future of the podcast and other content, but right now we just don't have the right equipment for it yet. We don't have the right kind of camera to have as long of a episode. I mean, we could the camera we have, we would have a 10-minute podcast, which is not ideal for you guys or anybody. So we're hoping that in the future, as we grow, we can make that kind of stuff for you guys, and that you'll love it and continue to grow this. And thank you guys for any and all support. And as always, it's not easy being geeky, but definitely go check out our website, and then thank you for the support. Don't forget to check out our website, noteasybeingeeky.com, where you can get links to all of our socials. Thanks for the support, guys.